Now, on to Nathan Hochman. Nathan Hochman's one of the leading candidates for LA County District Attorney. And he was holding a press conference today outside of George Gascon's office, demanding that Gascon get rid of Tiffiny Blacknell as his chief of staff. Nathan's going to come on and explain why. Nathan, how are you?
Very well, John. Thanks for inviting me on.
Did you just have this press conference, or is it upcoming?
We just had it. It was right in front of the Hall of Justice, George Gascon's office. And I demanded, not just as a candidate for district attorney, but as a citizen of LA County, that he terminate Tiffiny Blacknell, his chief of staff, who took her first day of office today, because she is the most pro-criminal, anti-police chief of staff the LA District Attorney's Office has ever had.
She has written a number of incendiary things online. She was proudly reminding the world that she was even a part of the Rodney King riots back in the early 90s. And
it's very true. And she actually has written that she's described the police as barbarians, an occupying army. She's actually posted a picture of herself wearing a T-shirt saying that the police are trained to kill us. You know, again, when you want to send a message to your own prosecutors, to law enforcement, and to the public that you're going to be someone to prosecute crime, this is the opposite of that message. And by the way, consistent with Gascon's message that he's more interested in criminals' rights than victims' rights.
It's interesting, after 3 years of getting so much criticism for his policies, and he's weeks away from this election, this primary election, where he's not doing well in the polls. I mean, that he would stick a finger in everybody's eye and say, you know what, I'm going to go with Tiffiny Blacknell here as my chief of staff. I mean, that's outrageous nerve.
I mean, stick a finger is one way to describe it. I view it as a slap in the face. I mean, imagine if you're law enforcement and you're the police chief or you're the sheriff and you're trying to attract more officers to work in Los Angeles. And not only is the DA the most pro-criminal DA, but he's just doubled down on that message by putting someone who's never been a DA. I mean, Tiffiny Blacknell was a deputy public defender her whole life. She's had these incendiary statements about basically hating the police, believing the police are our enemy, they're our barbarians, you know, they are an occupying army. And this is the person that he has now elevated as his chief of staff to be his representative to his own people, to the public, and to law enforcement. I'd say it was shocking, if not, it was consistent with what George Gascon has done for the last 3 years.
Does he have a political death wish here? I mean, this really is the stupidest thing to do, 6-7 weeks before a primary election, when he's got 10 people running against him, with you at the top of the list.
Again, if ever you could, if George Gascon's one thing, he is consistently stupid. He's consistently pro-criminal and actually transparent about it. The voters weren't paying as much attention in 2020 when he was saying these things because he didn't have a track record. Now he's got a 3+ year track record of being the most pro-criminal district attorney in the history of that office, boasting that he has saved violent and serious offenders over 10,000 years of prison time, which the evidence in the law called for, but which he will not authorize his prosecutors to bring.
Wait, hold on, time out. I haven't heard this one before. He's actually bragging that he saved 10,000 years worth of prison time?
Correct. Over 10,000 years of prison time has not gone to violent and serious offenders because he won't bring the charges that the evidence justified that would have resulted in that additional prison time. And he actually boasts that that is a badge of honor for him. And what's ironical is that, or ironic, is that it would be a badge of honor for a defense attorney. It's a badge of shame for a district attorney that's supposed to represent the public and victims. And George Gascon simply does not get it.
How does having Tiffiny Blacknell as his chief of staff, how do you think, can you explain how that would affect prosecutions, cases, the behavior of the deputy DAs?
Well, again, she has a very loud say in the policies that'll govern over 900 deputy district attorneys out there and the 100 or so thousand cases they're going to prosecute. So, for instance, when they say that they will not bring a gun enhancement if someone uses a gun, or a gang enhancement if you're part of a gang, that message will be doubled down upon while Tiffiny Blacknell is sort of cracking the whip on those 900 plus prosecutors. And again, it's shocking that someone who's never been a prosecutor is now the chief of staff of over 900 of them. That shows Gascon's reliance on people who have no experience, because he himself has never personally prosecuted a criminal case in his entire life.
As you've been campaigning, meeting a lot of people, appearing at various forums and question and answer events, what kind of sense do you get on how the public is viewing this race? I mean, obviously nobody was paying attention 4 years ago, and there were a lot of distractions that year, and this one snuck by everyone. What do you think the general understanding of this race is by the public?
I think that the general understanding is that the public finally gets it, that the DA's position is very important and crucial for their own safety, the safety of themselves, their family, their neighborhoods, and communities. And I've seen this across the political spectrum. It's not just Republicans. It's Democrats and independents that have come to my campaign at campaign events that have been generously supporting my campaign. In fact, we've hit campaign fundraising records based on the enthusiasm that we've gotten from across the entire political spectrum. So I am seeing a groundswell of anger and support that is going to ride George Gascon out of office, starting first in the March 2024 primaries, and then if he makes it through the primary, certainly in the November election when I beat him. Our polling shows if that election was today, I would beat him by 15 to 20 points.
All right. Well, I wish you a lot of luck, and we'll certainly talk again before Election Day in March for the primary. Give out your information if people want to access your website, to read more about you, to donate the campaign. What is that website?
Sure. The website is Nathan Hochman, NathanHochman.com. And John, thank you very much for having me on.
Anytime. Thank you for coming on, Nathan.
Appreciate it.
Talk with you again soon. That's Nathan Hochman. And if you don't know his background, he is a former federal prosecutor, an assistant U.S. attorney general, also president of the Los Angeles City Ethics Commission. And he has been polling well in this race to replace Gascon. Others have as well, and we'll certainly be highlighting other candidates. But he made the case today against Tiffiny Blacknell, who is Gascon is a disaster. Tiffiny Blacknell is a disaster. And it's really a shame that we all have to live through this, but that's why you got to pay attention. You got to vote. You got to get up on Election Day in first Tuesday in March, and you got to vote against Gascon. We could change this. There's 14,000 cases that he has not prosecuted intentionally. 14,000 sitting in the system, and this I hadn't heard before. What Nathan Hochman said, he's bragging that he has saved 10,000 hours of prison time for felony prisoners by withholding charges against them that would have increased their prison sentence. 10,000 extra hours that these guys will have to commit their next felony. And he's bragging about it. So we're beyond debating this. There's no more conversations to have. It's impossible to converse with these people. They simply have to be removed. Gascon has to be removed and forced to take Tiffiny Blacknell with him. She is a piece of work. She is about as... I've never seen such a public cop hater in my life. And she's gleeful about it. She revels in it. Go look at her social media. Holy mackerel. Another cluster B situation.